and welcome to the Elements of Improv. I'm Andy.
I'm Karen.
And we're Defiant Monkey Improv, here bringing you a series of short tutorial videos about the different elements of improv. Tonight, we're going to be talking to you about tightening up your show. Yes, tightening your nuts, tightening your show format so it looks more professional.
Because there's always things you can do.
Yes, we are continually looking at ways to tighten up our format, and we've been doing this for ages.
Yes.
So
there are, 4 basic overview things. One is keeping the audience in mind at all times, keeping focus, tightening it up just overall to keep it shorter, and know what you want to say and when to say it.
Yes. Now, with keeping your audience in mind, you may, in the venue you're performing, you may get the same kind of audience pretty much all the time. You may be going around to a whole bunch of different places like we do. We do shows in our theater. We do school shows, we do library shows, we do professional development and such.
So when we're in our theater, it's like, I look around, you all know improv. They've all been here. It's like if I can see my audience, and if I ask anybody not seen us and they've all been here before, well then I can skip a whole bunch. But if I know that it's like
if there's anybody there who's never seen it before, we do the whole thing.
Making sure we bring them up to speed.
Also, there have been times when we have done shows for like the Moose Lodge. It's a very different kind of audience, usually in various states of inebriation. That's not a slam against Moose Lodge. Moose Lodge member told us that the reason you join a Moose Lodge is so you can go and drink.
But you keep in mind, you adjust based on what your audience needs. So there's usually things you could say at the beginning and at the end. You can also add things to the middle, especially if you know at the end your audience is going to be more drunk. Maybe you want to just take a break in the middle, remind them about social media, join us if you like the show. So then at the end you can thank you, good night, and just leave it like that. So you can split it up. So really consider beginning, middle, end.
So that goes into knowing what you want to say and when you want to say it. We have evolved over time a pretty consistent show opening. It's not very long because people want to get to the funny.
Yeah.
We get up there, introduce ourselves, explain what improv is and what is going to happen that evening, meaning this is what improv is. And then we move right into our first scene.
So, twofold. You try not to over-explain because the audience can get stuff without over-explaining it. And try not to be dismissive of it. And flippant or so vague. It's like, we're going to do some improv, which is like theater and stuff. Okay. Ta-da! It's not quite enough. The other thing about it is we've said it a lot, our opening. Like every time I do a library show, we do a summer reading program and I design it for the libraries. And the first one is brand new, testing it out on the kids. Second one, we're tightening it up. We're realizing what works, what doesn't. And I can tighten up my opening.
By the 10th time.
By the 10th time, I've said it a lot. I've said it a lot, but I have to say it as if I've never said it before. This is where some people get into trouble and they start skimming over stuff. They start yada-ing things that they shouldn't.
Talking quickly.
Yeah, slurring their words because you said it, but you have to pretend you're excited like it's brand new because for them it is.
Yeah, this comes down to awareness, and we talk a lot about awareness, particularly in our book, 5 Elements of Improv. Being aware of what you sound like to your audience and what they're seeing.
Keeping focus is also important. We try not to talk over one another. There's only 2 of us, which makes keeping focus pretty good. I usually have to clam up. I go in a minute, and I have to stop myself. If you have a big group and they're all standing behind you and you're trying to talk, and they're excited, they're stretching, they're jiggling their legs, they're whispering to one another, what's the first thing we're doing? Yeah. Keep the focus on the person who's talking. It means that even though you have also heard it a million times before, you're sitting there, the host is talking, you've heard it, you still have to watch them and pretend like it's the most fabulous thing in the world, because you're modeling it for your audience. Where you look, the audience will look. Because if I do this, everybody wonders what I'm looking at.
It's the cat on the bed.
It's the cat. Is there? Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So model what you want your audience to do, and if you want them to quietly sit and pay attention, everybody in your group needs to quietly sit and pay attention.
Remembering that the human eye is drawn by movement.
Yeah.
And if the people behind you or to the sides while you're doing your introduction, if they're moving around and jittering and things like that,
Are you looking at Andy anymore?
Stop it.
Sorry.
They're going to draw focus away from your introduction, which is another reason to keep the introduction brief, because if it goes on and on and on, they'll drift and they'll be looking for something more interesting to see.
Now, your show is improv. Our show is improv. We're making it up. However, the beginning, the set things you want to say, you should know who's saying what and in general what you want to say. Clarify it so you don't have to go, was there anything else? No, I'm really bad about this too. I shouldn't do this and I need to stop myself. What else do we got? Anything?
No.
Is there anything else? No? Okay, I just wasted a whole lot of time asking around. Or if, I'm introducing one thing and Andy's introducing the next, but he doesn't know it. Maybe I should have set him up with that ahead of time. And I mean, it's still all improvised, but you said it.
A lot of groups we've seen will rotate from game to game who does the introductions and such. And that's great. That way everybody who wants to gets a chance to do it. Again, make sure that everyone knows what format for the introductions you're using and to keep it crisp.
They can practice this part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely should.
Particularly at the beginning. We watch a lot of live improv, and we go to see a lot of live improv, and we watch a lot of videos. And there are times where you'll get people who are doing the introduction. It'll be a couple of them. They'll be going back and forth, and they'll be joking back and forth and ad-libbing back and forth. And suddenly it's become about the two of them, and the audience is like a third wheel watching this. And
it drags on too much.
Yeah, and you put yourself at a deficit at that point. You have to get that energy back going between you and the audience. So start the energy from the beginning between you and the audience and keep it going that way, and your job will be much easier.
Yeah, you're getting them ready for the show.
Yes, you are. I like to equate this with hypnosis. When you're starting a show, you are inducing a form of hypnosis. People are going to be suspending their disbelief. They're going to be watching you up on stage. They have to think that you are down in a cave talking to gnomes or living in the ear of a chihuahua or whatever. And that starts right from the very first moment you come onto the stage, if not before.
Your whole atmosphere. Really.
Yeah, we're not going to talk right now about, playing music before. Actually, let's talk briefly about that.
Okay, let's.
We hadn't talked about this, but this just came to mind. And this is one of my pet peeves.
Okay.
Is when we go to an improv show and they are blasting music so loud. And it's always music that has lyrics. So you got music blasting at you, you've got lyrics blasting at you. You can't talk to the person next to you because it's too loud. It's distracting. It doesn't get you into the mood for the funny. So
build the atmosphere with the music. You can pump it up when you get right up to the show, but not for like a half an hour of loud.
I love researching things. I really do. And what I found out is that if you play music that is right around 120 beats per minute, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but you can look up on internet uh, songs at 120 BPM, beats per minute. That puts someone in a happy mood. And if you do that, all the songs that we play before our show are ones that I've curated and are right around 120 beats per minute. And it gets the endorphins going. It gets people in the mood to laugh.
Yeah, and we keep it loud enough to hear, but quiet enough so that they can talk, because they're usually sitting there they come in early and they're sitting there for a while. And then our intro music is louder. That part can be loud. That is like we're getting ready.
Yeah, we the house music we play, a lot of it will have lyrics and things like that. Our intro music is instrumental and just bam and brief. And that lets people know, show starting, here come Karen and Andy.
Yes. And then you, as part of this tightening, are firm, confident, and consistent. Oh, that's a good word. Yeah, firm, confident, and consistent. So they can come to rely on you. You're like the what was the analogy you had? The person running the show.
Oh, yeah. A circus ringmaster. If you picture coming out first off, hi everybody. I'm Frank, and we're gonna do some improv. We're gonna make fun, have comedy here, right?
It's gonna be funny.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be good.
Okay, yeah. And then you picture,
yeah,
and you sound like you're not sure what you're saying. Picture going to, unfortunately, bygone days of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's circus. The ringmaster in red tails and black boots and a top hat walks into the center ring with the lights on him, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen and children of all ages, welcome to Ringling Brothers, blah, 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 blah."
Without that
Without the blah, 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 yeah.
They're confident. I just had a stroke.
Yeah, I've been doing this for years. Blah, blah, you know it.
Super confident, loud, and commanding, which we have not seen in some shows. They come out and they're wimpy. I'm not sure which one is hosting the show. And they sound unsure of themselves. And one way you can test this is by recording yourself.
Yes.
Record yourself and watch it, so as painful as that may be, so you can understand what you're doing or not doing. Do you fidget? Some people don't know. I've seen people who play sports will record themselves so they can watch themselves. For example, in tennis, you serve the ball. How are you doing it? Feels right, but you haven't seen it from a distance. What's that weird thing you're doing with your elbow? Stand-up comics will video themselves, and I know at least one guy who noticed how much he rocked back and forth and back and forth.
I was going to mention that. That's the one thing I've seen most, is when people will walk a few steps forward and walk a couple steps backward, or even just rock this way and rock this way. You do it without noticing it. Notice it. Make yourself stop doing those things.
Your movements and what your verbal tics might be. Do you have filler words? And it's more than just ums. You may be umming a lot because you're unsure. Some people and know it and then don't do anything about it. Oh, please do something about it. But there are other verbal tics that will make you sound unsure. The word just will make you sound unsure and wimpy. Something, anything, thing, stuff. Those will all make it watered down. I teach writing.
And she taught public speaking.
I say take those out of your vocabulary. I just want to say, and if you have a weird verbal thing, if you have a weird verbal sound, for example, going up on the end of every sentence, please don't do that, because it'll make you also sound unsure. And just
it turns everything into a question.
So record yourself, find out what you're doing, get the advice of somebody else. Are you loud enough even? Hopefully by now, but That's part of being commanding. And, like sitting here watching these videos, I've learned a lot. Like, first of all, what am I doing with my hands? I'm trying to figure it out. And what I thought was my look of intense concentration and thoughtfulness, turns out I died. That was my deep thinking face, apparently.
Yes.
What am I doing? I don't know. I was concentrating. I was thinking of like, ooh, that was a good point. Let me add to it. And yet I look like I'm a cadaver. One other aspect to be aware of is if you are doing a show amongst other shows. So you are one of many. And I've seen this because I worked in a comedy club for a long time with stand-ups, and we've seen it because we have watched videos from a festival and we've been in the festival where the stand-ups were the worst though. The first guy comes up, hey everybody, how you doing tonight? Everybody goes, woo! Yeah! Second guy comes up, hey everybody, how you doing tonight?
Woo,
Yeah, we said we were good. Third guy, hey everybody, how you doing tonight? We said we were fine. So if everybody is starting their show the exact same way, the audience is the same. The audience is not changing. It's a festival. The first group or the hosts of the festival have explained to everybody what improv is. You don't need to do that anymore. And you really should watch them so you know.
What we did to combat that is, if we're not the first act out there, we will thank them for having us at the festival.
Yeah.
That's a great way to get around that, because you want to ask,
how is everybody tonight?
Shut up!
Yay, again, you're suckering me into applause.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
So, to summarize, keep your audience in mind at all times and adapt your show format as you need to for that particular audience. Keep focused, stay aware of what's going on, and maintain the focus between the people in the back and the person doing the talking and the person talking and the audience. Tighten it up in general. Think of that ringmaster. You are the ringmaster of that show if you're out there doing that. And be firm, confident, and consistent. And you will look more professional and be more entertaining, because the audience will be putty in your hands.
And you can press them on a comic and fill them up.
Not a stand-up comic. So thank you so much for joining us for this element of improv.
Smile.
I'm Andy.
I'm Karen.
We are Defiant Monkey Improv. We would very much appreciate if you could support us. We will be putting up our Venmo and our PayPal links. If you can throw us a couple bucks here and there. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We'd appreciate it. If not, that's all right too. We put these up there so we can help you take your improv to the next level. You can, if you don't want to give us a tip, you can help us out by purchasing a copy of the 5 Elements of Improv. It's available in paperback. It is available in Kindle. It will eventually be available on audio, on Audible. And keep your eyes open, because coming soon is our next book, The 1 Minute Improviser.
This is exactly the sort of thing that I was wondering, how do we tighten up? Because at the end, as soon as people start like, hey, click here and subscribe, it's like, I stop watching.
Let's put a joke at the end.
Ooh, yeah, a tag. Something that will say that'll be different.
Yes.
That they'll be like, did I miss something?
Lottery numbers. No.
Your fortune.
Yes. Thank you for
Tighten it
watching. Tighten it up.
Tighten your nuts.
Happy improvising.